Close your eyes. Let yourself sink into the comfort of your surroundings. Imagine for a moment that you are standing in the middle of a vast, infinite space. There are no walls here, no ceiling, no busy streets, or the hum of distant machines. There is only the horizon, stretching out in a gentle, rolling curve that seems to go on forever. You are standing in the heart of the great North American prairie. The air here is clean and sweet, carrying the faint, earthy scent of wild sage and sun-warmed soil. It is a quiet world, but it is not empty. Listen closely. Can you hear it? It is the soft, rhythmic rustle of millions of blades of grass swaying in unison, like the slow, deep breath of the earth itself. The wind is the only traveller here, a gentle wanderer that brushes against your skin and tells stories of places it has seen, from the distant mountain peaks to the hidden river valleys. In this moment, time doesn't seem to move in minutes or hours. It moves in seasons. It moves in the slow turn of the sun, the quiet arrival of dusk, and the soft blanket of starlight that covers the sky when the day is done. This was the world that existed for thousands of years, a resilient golden sea of grass that nurtured life in ways we are only just beginning to understand. It was a place of profound stillness and deep, enduring strength. But even the most peaceful landscapes have their turning points. Tonight I want to take you on a journey to a time when this land, with all its ancient wisdom and silent beauty, began to change. We aren't going to look at this through the lens of conflict or chaos, but through the eyes of those who witnessed it, the families who lived in rhythm with the soil, the farmers who learned the language of the weather, and the quiet resilience of a community finding its way through an unexpected transformation. We are going to walk through the fields as they were and observe how a landscape that had stood for generations began to shift within the span of a single human life. It is a story of observation, of learning, and of the profound relationship between human ambition and the natural world. So, tuck yourself in. Let your breathing slow down to match the rhythm of the prairie. You are safe here, and we have nowhere to be but in this story. Before we drift further into the past, I want to ask, where are you listening from tonight? Maybe you're in your bed, the lights dimmed low, or perhaps you're finding a moment of calm during a quiet night shift. I truly love hearing from you, so please leave a comment if you feel like sharing. And if you find that this journey speaks to your heart, I would be honored if you chose to subscribe to this space, though there is never any pressure. Only an invitation to share something meaningful together. The channel Sleepy History with Kevin is a storytelling platform created for entertainment, inspiration, education, and the promotion of positive emotional values. When the early settlers arrived at the edge of the great grasslands, they were met with a sight that is difficult to describe in modern terms. It was not just a field, it was an ocean. Imagine standing on a rise of land and looking out over a sea of green that stretched further than the eye could see. There were no fences, no telephone poles, no roads to break the continuity of the landscape, just the endless rhythmic dance of the prairie grass, under a sky so vast it felt like it could swallow the world. These men and women, often travelling in small creaking wagons, must have felt a mix of immense wonder and profound humility. They were coming from places where the land was broken up by stone walls, dense forests, or mountains. Here, the land offered a blank canvas, a promise of a fresh start, but it was a promise that came with a price, the need to understand a world that was entirely indifferent to their arrival. In those first seasons, life was dictated by the simplest, most fundamental things. The morning sun would crest over the horizon, painting the sky in soft hues of peach and gold, a signal that the day's work had begun. They learned to read the sky like a book. A certain shade of blue meant a calm, productive day. A specific haze on the western horizon served as a quiet warning that the weather might turn. They became students of the soil, testing its texture between their fingers, learning which patches held moisture after a rare rain and which ones drained away into the parched earth. There was a profound dignity in this learning process. There was no rush yet, no frantic need to conquer the land. Instead, there was a tentative, almost shy courtship between the farmers and the prairie. They built their homes with what they had, often using the very sod of the earth itself, cutting thick blocks of matted roots and dirt to create walls that were cool in the summer and insulating in the winter. It was a humble way to live, a way that kept them close to the earth in a very literal sense. In the evenings, as the temperature began to drop and the stars bloomed across the night sky with a brightness we rarely see today, these families would sit outside their homes. They listened to the sounds of the night, the distant howl of a coyote, the chirping of crickets hidden in the tall grass, and the sigh of the wind as it moved across the plains. In those quiet moments, they felt the vastness of their surroundings. They were small, yes, but they were also part of something grand, something ancient. They were participating in the slow, steady rhythm of a continent that had been breathing for eons. It is easy to look back and see the challenges that would eventually come, but it is also important to remember the hope. These people weren't villains or heroes, they were dreamers. They were people who believed that with enough hard work, enough persistence, and enough care, they could build a life that would last for generations. They were planting the seeds of communities, schools, and homes, believing that they were becoming a permanent part of this landscape. As the seasons turned from the vibrant, wildflower-specked spring to the golden, drowsy summer, they began to feel that they were settling in, they were adapting, learning the ways of the land and finding a sense of belonging in the vastness. Little did they know that the very land they were learning to love held secrets that would soon test them in ways they could never have imagined. But for now, let us hold on to that feeling of potential, the quiet, steady belief that tomorrow would be a good day, and that the prairie would be there to greet them, just as it had for 1,000 years. As the years passed, the relationship between the settlers and the prairie began to evolve. What started as small subsistence homesteads slowly expanded. There was a growing curiosity, a desire to see just how much this rich, dark soil could provide. It was a time of ambition, fueled by stories of successful harvests and the promise that the grasslands were not just a home, but a frontier of unlimited potential. The transformation began with the plough. It is hard for us today to imagine the sheer physical effort required to break the surface of the original prairie. That thick interwoven mat of roots I mentioned earlier, the sod, was not easily conquered. It had been holding the earth in place for centuries, anchoring the soil against the harsh winds and the baking sun. When the first steel ploughs finally bit into that virgin ground, it was a momentous event. There is something almost solemn about the way the earth was turned over for the first time. The sound of the plough cutting through those deep tangled roots was a unique melody, a series of sharp, rhythmic snaps and tearing sounds, like a long-closed book finally being opened. As the furrows were turned, the dark, rich soil was exposed to the light of day, ready to receive the seeds of wheat and corn. It looked fertile, inviting, and full of promise. For the families who watched this process, it felt like an act of creation. They saw themselves as bringing order to a wild, chaotic landscape. They were improving the land, as the phrase went in those days. They saw the golden waves of wheat replacing the wild, swaying grasses as a sign of progress, a symbol that they were successfully building a future. They worked from dawn until dusk, their hands calloused, their bodies tired, but their spirits lifted by the sight of the growing crops. During these years the weather seemed to be cooperating. There were cycles of sufficient rain, and the harvests were often generous. This success reinforced a belief that perhaps the old tales of the prairie's harshness were overstated, or that human ingenuity had finally tamed the elements. They didn't see the signs that the earth was losing its protective armour, the deep root systems that had acted as a sponge, holding moisture deep in the ground even during the hottest summers. As more and more land was turned, the landscape changed visually. The vast, unbroken horizons began to be marked by grids, fences, roads, and the geometric precision of ploughed fields. It was a new kind of beauty, one defined by human labour and organisation. The air still smelled of earth, but now it was the scent of freshly turned loam rather than wild sage. Think of those long summer afternoons. The children would run through the fields, their laughter mingling with the hum of insects. The community gatherings, the shared meals under the vast open sky, and the sense of common purpose, these were the threads that bound the community together. They were building something they believed would stand forever. They were observing the land, yes, but they were also beginning to shape it to fit their needs, confident in their ability to foresee what the next season would bring. It was a time of quiet confidence. They were listening to the land, but perhaps they were only hearing what they wanted to hear. They were reading the patterns of the weather, but perhaps they were misinterpreting the warnings that were whispered in the rustle of the leaves or the way the dust gathered at the edges of their ploughs. They were living in a golden age of their own making, unaware that the very foundation of their prosperity was becoming increasingly fragile. It is a curious thing how quickly a sense of permanence can shift. For a time everything had followed a predictable rhythm. The winters were cold, the springs were wet, and the summers were warm and productive. But somewhere around the late 1920s, the rhythm began to stutter. It was nothing drastic at first, just a series of subtle changes that only the most observant farmers noticed. The spring rains, which were vital for the germination of the wheat, began to arrive late, or sometimes not at all. The soil, which had been so dark and moist when it was first turned, started to feel different under the boots of those walking the fields. It felt lighter, almost powdery. When the wind blew, it didn't just ruffle the wheat, it seemed to pick up tiny particles of the earth itself, carrying them away in soft, swirling eddies that danced along the fence lines. Families would gather on their porches in the evening, watching the sky. They would talk about the lack of moisture, about how the local creek levels were dropping, or how the cattle seemed restless, moving toward the deeper valleys in search of better grazing. There was a quiet, creeping anxiety that they rarely spoke of aloud. To admit that the land might be changing was to admit that their dream might be in danger. So they worked harder, they planted more. They trusted that the cycle would right itself as it always had. I want you to imagine the atmosphere during those transition years. The sunsets were still beautiful, often painted in more vivid colours than ever before, as if the very air was holding more dust, scattering the light in ways that were stunning yet unsettling. The sunsets were a warning, though no one wanted to read them that way. People would point to the brilliant reds and purples and talk about how lovely the evening looked, while deep down a knot of worry grew tighter in their chests. The birds, those constant companions of the prairie, were the first to show that something was shifting. They were less frequent in the gardens. Their songs seemed to retreat to the edges of the woods or the proximity of the few remaining water sources. Even the insects seemed different. The chorus of cicadas, usually so deafeningly loud in the heat of August, was muted as if the heat had become too oppressive even for them. This wasn't an immediate disaster. It was a slow, agonizing process of attrition. It was the land losing its balance. The vast network of roots that had once held the soil in place had been largely removed, and with the persistent dry spells the earth was losing its grip. Without the protection of the grasses, the topsoil, the very lifeblood of the community, was becoming vulnerable to the wind. Yet life went on. Children still went to school, church bells still rang on Sundays, and the daily chores continued with a stubborn, disciplined focus. It is human nature to try and maintain normalcy, even when the ground beneath our feet begins to feel uncertain. These families were resilient. They had faced challenges before, and they leaned into that shared history of endurance. They were a community that believed in the future, even as the present began to show the first hairline fractures of a coming transformation. We must remember that these people were living through a period of immense uncertainty, navigating a relationship with an environment that was proving to be much more complex than they had anticipated. They were not ignoring the signs out of carelessness. They were responding to a changing world with the best tools and understanding they had at the time. They were part of an unfolding story, one where the human spirit was being tested by the very land they had come to cherish. All stories on this channel, Sleepy History with Kevin, are fictional, thoughtfully crafted around historical themes and inspired by real events, figures, and periods, reimagined for engaging storytelling. The content does not represent real individuals, actual events, or documented cases. Any resemblance to real people, animals, or events is purely coincidental. By the early 1930s, the wind had become a constant presence. It was no longer the gentle breeze that cooled the porch on a summer evening. It had taken on a new, restless character. It began to howl across the plains, carrying with it a dry, gritty texture that coated everything it touched. It seemed to search for any opening under the doors, through the window frames, and into the very fabric of the homes that these families had worked so hard to build. There is a particular sound that wind makes when it is laden with dust. It is not the whistling or sighing of a clean breeze. It is a low, persistent growl, a sound that vibrates in your chest. It tells you that the air is heavy with particles, that the world outside is being dismantled and rearranged. During these days, the farmers would often find themselves standing on their land, watching the horizon with a quiet, intense focus. They were looking for the signs, the way the light would flatten, the way the temperature would drop suddenly, or the way the birds would fall silent. It was during these moments of watching that the true weight of their situation began to sink in. They were not just observing a change in weather, they were witnessing a change in the environment they had staked their lives upon, and yet there was a quiet beauty to this, if you can believe it. Even in the face of uncertainty, there was a profound sense of human connection. Neighbours would come together, not to panic, but to share stories and resources. They would help each other seal windows with damp rags. They would share what little water they had, and they would sit in the dim light of their living rooms, talking quietly to keep the fear at bay. If you're finding yourself drawn into this story, feeling the pulse of these communities as they face the unknown, I want to invite you to join our growing circle of listeners. If you haven't already, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It truly helps this channel continue to share these quiet, reflective journeys into our shared history. And if this story has offered you a sense of calm tonight, a simple like on this video would mean the world to me. It lets me know that we are on this path together. I'm also deeply curious about what brings you here tonight. Perhaps you have your own memories of the power of nature, or maybe you just appreciate a story that moves at the speed of a sunset. Please drop a comment below. I make it a point to read every single one, and hearing your thoughts is one of the most rewarding parts of this work. Your presence here, in the quiet of this late hour, is what makes these stories come alive. As we move forward, the wind continues to build, and the community finds itself standing at the threshold of something much larger than they could have anticipated. They are learning that the land is not merely a resource to be harvested, but a living, breathing partner that demands respect and understanding. The lessons they are about to learn are hard, but they are also essential, lessons that have echoed down through the decades to reach us today. Let us continue to observe, to listen, and to walk alongside them through these changing times. In those mid-30s years when the air began to thicken, life inside the home became a study in resilience. There was a unique kind of discipline required to keep a household running when the outside world felt like it was trying to invade every corner of your sanctuary. Women in particular became the architects of this daily defense. They learned how to hang wet sheets across doorways to catch the fine, infiltrating grit. They spent hours each day wiping down surfaces, only to find the dust had returned before the sun had even set. Yet there was something deeply moving about their persistence. They did not simply give up. They swept, they cleaned, and they cooked simple meals, with a grace that spoke of defiance. It was a way of saying that despite the circumstances, this space was still a home. They maintained their routines, mending clothes, reading books to their children by the soft glow of a lantern, and keeping the kitchen fires burning. It was a quiet, steady rhythm that provided a sense of anchor in a world that felt increasingly untethered. The children too played their part. They were naturally observant, noticing how the light shifted from a warm golden hue to a strange bruised yellow when the wind kicked up. They learned to help with the chores, their small hands working to patch the chinks in the sod walls or gathering whatever scraps of fuel could be found to keep the hearth warm. They grew up in a world where the prairie was not just a playground, but a teacher of patience. They watched their parents, absorbing the lessons of how to stay calm when the sky turned dark, how to look for the silver linings, and how to hold on to hope when the horizon offered little but uncertainty. There was a profound, unspoken language between neighbours during this time. You could see it in the way a farmer would stop his work to help a neighbour fix a broken fence, or the way families would share news of the latest weather patterns. There was no room for vanity or pride. The challenge was far too great for any one person to face alone. They were forging a new kind of community, one built not on the abundance of the harvest, but on the strength of their shared resolve. As the sun would dip below the horizon, casting long dramatic shadows across the fields, these families would gather together. Sometimes they would share a meal, sometimes they would simply sit and listen to the wind, a constant rhythmic companion that had become the soundtrack of their lives. In these moments they were not just farmers or settlers, they were people bound by a singular experience, trying to understand their place in a world that was transforming before their eyes. They were learning that the land was not just a static stage upon which they played out their lives. It was an active participant, a force that responded to their actions. They were coming to realize that the choices they made, how they ploughed, what they planted, and how they cared for the soil, had ripples that extended far beyond their own fences. It was a humbling realization, one that demanded a shift in perspective. They began to look at the prairie differently, not as a conquest, but as a complex, delicate system that required their stewardship. This was the beginning of a profound transformation in their relationship with the earth. Even as the wind continued to howl and the dust continued to gather, there was a kernel of wisdom taking root. They were learning to observe with a new clarity, seeing the interconnectedness of all things. It was a difficult education, paid for in sweat and hardship, but it was an education that would define their legacy. As we drift through this memory of their lives, let us appreciate their steadfastness, their quiet dignity, and their enduring belief that even in the face of immense change, there is a path forward, rooted in respect for the land that sustains us all. There came days when the horizon seemed to draw a deep breath, and the world would go silent. It was a stillness that felt heavier than usual, almost as if the atmosphere were holding its breath in anticipation. You could feel it in the air, a subtle shift in the static charge, a prickling against the skin that made the small hairs on your arms stand up. The birds, usually so busy in the brush, would vanish into the deep hollows of the landscape, and even the cattle would cluster together, their heads low, facing away from the north. During these times, the sky began to transition through a haunting palette of colours. It would start as a bruised, sickly yellow, then deepen into an ochre that stained the very light of the afternoon. People who were outside would stop whatever they were doing. They would look up, shielding their eyes, watching the clouds gather. They weren't storm clouds in the traditional sense, no flashes of lightning, no rolling thunder. Instead, it was a solid wall of earth, a veil of fine, pulverized soil lifted from the fields and carried aloft by the tireless wind. Imagine standing on your porch, watching that wall move toward you. It had a strange, majestic quality, yet it was deeply unsettling. It moved with a steady, inevitable pace, blurring the distinction between the earth and the sky. In those minutes before it arrived, there was a profound sense of introspection. You had time to think about the house, the barn, the fields, and how fragile all of it felt. You realized that the scale of this event was far beyond anything you could control. This was the prairie reclaiming its own. The topsoil, which had been turned and loosened, was now airborne, creating a giant, churning monument to a lost balance. For the families, this was a time of internal preparation. They would retreat inside, not in panic, but with a disciplined sense of purpose. They knew exactly what to do. The windows were checked, the doors were reinforced with heavy blankets, and the water buckets were covered. They would gather their family together, perhaps lighting a single lamp to push back the encroaching shadows. The transition from daylight to the dimness of the storm was gradual, a slow dimming of the sun, until it was nothing more than a faint pale disk in the sky. Then it would vanish altogether. Inside, the world became a quiet, intimate space. The sounds of the outside world were muffled, replaced by the persistent tapping of grit against the wooden siding. It was a time of immense patience. There was nothing to do but wait, to sit, to listen, and to reflect on the nature of the ground that had supported them for so long. What was running through their minds in those hours of darkness? Perhaps they thought of the seasons past, of the pride they felt in a straight furrow or a bountiful harvest. They might have wondered where the earth was going, carried off by the wind to distant places they would never see. There was a sense of humility in this waiting. They were small participants in a vast natural cycle that was currently teaching them a lesson in endurance. In the quiet of that room, surrounded by the soft, dry scent of the earth, the feeling of community was strongest. A hand held, a whispered word of comfort, a shared breath. These were the things that defined them. They were not just surviving, they were enduring together. They were learning that home is not merely a structure of wood and sod, but a state of being, a pocket of peace maintained against the vastness of the changing plains. The veil of the storm was thick, but it could not extinguish the light of their resolve, nor the quiet hope that tomorrow would bring a clearer sky. When the dust finally settled, it did so with a haunting velvet silence. The morning light would filter through the thick settling haze, casting long ethereal shadows across a landscape that had been fundamentally rewritten overnight. Walking out the front door, the world felt entirely new. Everything, the porch, the fences, the fields, was blanketed in a fine, talcum-soft layer of dust. It was as if the prairie had taken the surface of the earth and redistributed it, layer by layer, over every inch of the homestead. This was a time for reflection. The farmers would walk their land, their boots leaving deep, clear tracks in the new sediment. You could see the patterns the wind had left behind, ripples similar to those on a sandy beach, frozen in place. It was a stark, visual reminder of the power of the wind and the vulnerability of the soil. They weren't looking at this with anger anymore. The anger had been exhausted by the sheer scale of the event. Instead, there was a quiet, analytical gaze. They were beginning to study the land with new eyes. They looked at where the drifts were highest, where the soil had held, and where it had been swept away. This act of observation was the beginning of a different kind of farming. They were learning, almost by instinct, how to work with the wind rather than against it. They began to notice that the rows of trees planted by the old-timers, the windbreaks, had saved some of the soil. They realized that the way they tilled the earth mattered, that keeping the stubble in the ground instead of clearing it away entirely could keep the earth anchored. It was a slow, painful, and beautiful process of rediscovery. As we walk through these memories together, I am reminded of how much we rely on the stories of those who came before us to understand our own relationship with the world. If this journey into the quiet, dusty history of the prairie has resonated with you, I would be so grateful if you could share this video with someone who might also appreciate a moment of calm and reflection. Sometimes these stories find their way to the people who need them most simply because you chose to share them. And for those of you who have been with us through these parts, your support means more than I can express. If you feel inclined, checking the link in the description for more in-depth historical notes or related content can further deepen your connection to this story. Your engagement, whether it is a like, a comment, or simply spending your time here, is the heartbeat of this channel. It allows us to continue weaving these narratives, preserving these moments in time, and learning together. Thank you for being a part of this thoughtful, gentle community. Even in the aftermath of the storm, life continued to stir. The birds would return, tentatively at first, their songs cutting through the stillness like a promise. The sky would begin to clear, turning that brilliant, impossible blue that only the prairie knows. And the people, with their tired hands and patient hearts, would pick up their tools, not with the same arrogance they had years before, but with a quiet, tempered wisdom. They were ready to start again, not to conquer, but to cultivate. They were learning the language of the land, one season at a time, finding beauty in the resilience of the grass and the hope of the new dawn. The landscape did not recover in a day, nor in a season. It was a process of slow, deliberate healing. As the years wore on, a fundamental shift occurred in the minds of those who lived on the plains. They stopped seeing the prairie as an adversary to be overcome and began to recognize it as a complex, delicate system that required a new kind of stewardship. The soil, once treated as an infinite resource, was now understood for what it truly was, a living, fragile foundation that demanded protection. Farmers began to experiment with techniques that today we call conservation. They started leaving the crop residue, the stalks and leaves in the fields after the harvest. Instead of clearing the land down to the bare earth, they allowed this layer of organic material to remain, creating a blanket that held the moisture and pinned the soil in place against the persistent winds. It was a small, quiet change, but its impact was profound. For the first time in a long time, the ground began to feel stable underfoot. They also began to plant in contours, following the natural curves of the land rather than forcing straight, geometric lines across hills and valleys. This method of contour ploughing prevented water from rushing off in channels, allowing it to soak deep into the earth where it could nourish the roots of the crops. It was as if they were finally listening to the land's own rhythm, observing how the water moved and how the slopes were shaped, and adapting their labour to suit those patterns. The community spirit evolved as well. These were not just individuals struggling on their own plots anymore. They gathered to share knowledge, to discuss which methods were working and which were failing. They formed cooperatives where tools and advice were shared freely. There was a sense of collective responsibility that hadn't existed before. They understood that their neighbour's soil was just as precious as their own, and that by working together they could preserve the viability of the entire region. And there were the shelter belts, long rows of trees planted strategically to break the force of the winds. This was an act of long-term vision. The farmers knew they might not live to see these trees reach their full height, but they planted them anyway, as a gift to the future. They were investing in a landscape that would be more resilient for the next generation. These groves of trees became sanctuaries, not just for the soil, but for the birds and the small creatures that began to return as the environment stabilized. Even in the dry years there was a sense of calm resilience. They had learned the value of patience. They realized that they could not command the rain, but they could manage how they used the water they were given. They were becoming keepers of the land, shifting from the role of conquerors to that of partners. It was a beautiful, humbling transition. Think of the way a garden grows. It requires care, observation, and a willingness to step back and let the natural processes work. That is what they were doing on a massive scale. They were watching the grass grow back in the unploughed patches, noticing the return of the wildflowers, and feeling a sense of quiet pride in the patches of earth that were once again anchored and healthy. They were living in a harmony that felt earned, a peace that was the result of hard-won wisdom. This period was not just about survival, it was about the maturation of a community, a coming of age for the people who called the prairie home. They were proving that human ambition, when tempered by respect and careful observation, could exist in balance with the wild, enduring beauty of the natural world. As the years drifted by, the story of those challenging times began to settle into the collective memory of the community. It wasn't a story of shame, but one of transformation, a lesson passed down from parent to child, over kitchen tables and in the quiet of long golden afternoons. The elders, those who had weathered the dust and the uncertainty, became the keepers of a vital wisdom. They spoke of the importance of the wind, the texture of the soil, and the absolute necessity of respecting the land that fed them. There is a quiet power in these stories. When a grandfather shows his grandson the depth of a root system in a patch of wild grass, or a mother explains to her daughter why they leave the stubble in the field after the harvest, they are doing more than teaching agriculture. They are teaching a way of life, a philosophy of living that honours the cycle of the earth. These moments of connection are the threads that hold a community together across time. They ensure that the mistakes of the past become the safeguards of the future. We too are part of this chain of knowledge. By listening to these echoes of history, we are honouring the people who found their way through the darkness and emerged with a deeper understanding of our place in nature. This is why I am so grateful to share this journey with you. If you find these historical reflections bring a sense of clarity or peace to your night, please consider becoming a more active part of this community. A simple subscribe ensures you won't miss our future explorations, and ringing the notification bell means we can continue this quiet conversation whenever a new story is ready. Your support isn't just a number to me, it is an invitation to keep these stories alive, to keep searching for those forgotten lessons that can still guide us today. If you have someone in your life who appreciates the calm of a well-told story, perhaps you could share this video with them. Growing this channel together means we can create a bigger, more thoughtful space for everyone to reflect and rest. I truly believe that the more we share these stories, the more we learn to value the fragility and the beauty of the world around us. As the sun sets on another day, take a moment to consider what you might pass on to those who come after you. What lessons have you learned from your own experiences? What wisdom have you gathered in the quiet moments of your life? The prairie, with all its vastness and history, is a reminder that we are all just stewards of the time we have been given. Let us use that time wisely, with kindness for the land and for each other. Let us continue to listen, to observe, and to grow, just like the golden fields that stretch out under the watchful, eternal sky. If you were to travel through the heart of those same plains today, you would see a landscape that has clearly been shaped by both human hands and natural forces. It is a vast, open expanse, much like the one that existed long ago, yet if you look closely, you can see the fingerprints of the past. You will see fields that curve gracefully with the hills, a testament to the contour farming that saved so many from the fragility of the soil. You will see rows of trees, shelter belts that have grown tall and sturdy, standing as living monuments to the foresight of those who planted them nearly a century ago. It is a striking realization that the landscape did not disappear, rather it adapted, and in many ways it was restored by the very people who once threatened it. The prairie is still there beneath the wheat and the grazing lands, vibrant and resilient. It is a testament to the fact that when we listen to the land, it has the capacity to recover. The relationship between the people and the earth has moved from a desire to dominate to a practice of collaboration. In the modern world, where so much feels fast-paced and disconnected, there is a profound comfort in knowing that this cycle of restoration is possible. The story of the prairie is a reminder that we are never too far gone to change our course. When we recognize the consequences of our actions, when we choose to observe, to learn and to adapt, we can heal the systems that sustain us. It is a slow, quiet process, but it is one that holds immense promise. There is a gentle beauty in this continuity. The same sun that rose over the homesteads of the 1930s still warms the earth today. The same wind, though now tempered by the trees and the thoughtful management of the soil, still whispers across the grass. We are part of this same story, the latest chapter in a long unfolding narrative about how to live well within the limits and the gifts of the natural world. As we reflect on this, consider the systems that sustain you in your own life, the food you eat, the water you drink, the air you breathe. They are all connected to the health of the land, just as they were for the farmers of the plains. There is a quiet responsibility in that connection, but there is also a great deal of gratitude to be found. By honouring the past, we gain the tools to build a more thoughtful future. We are, in effect, the custodians of this history. We carry these stories forward, ensuring that the lessons learned through struggle are not lost but transformed into wisdom. It is a journey that requires us to stay present, to remain curious, and to hold on to that sense of wonder that comes when we truly look at the world around us. Even in our modern lives, we can find our own ways to be stewards of the land, whether through the small choices we make every day, or through the way we advocate for the environment we share. This content is inspired by and adapted from public domain works available through Project Gutenberg. The material has been transformed through original narration, editing, and storytelling to create a unique experience for educational and entertainment purposes. When night falls on the prairie, the world is transformed into something truly magnificent. Without the glow of city lights, the sky becomes a vast ink-black velvet canvas, scattered with more stars than you can ever hope to count. It is a humbling sight, one that puts everything into perspective. Looking up into that deep, shimmering abyss, the anxieties of the day feel smaller, less urgent. You realize that you are standing on a small patch of earth, drifting through an infinite space, and in this realization there is a strange, profound sense of peace. The silence of the night is not truly silent. Of course, if you listen with your whole being, you can hear the pulse of the earth. There is the occasional rustle of nocturnal creatures moving through the tall grass, the distant mournful cry of a night bird, and the constant soft breath of the wind. It is a lullaby, a melody that has played every night for thousands of years, unchanged by the shifting fortunes of those who live beneath it. Many of the early settlers found that these nights were the most important part of their day. After the long, dusty hours of labour, after the struggle to make the soil yield its fruit, the night offered a sanctuary. It was a time to disconnect from the demands of survival and reconnect with the quiet, enduring spirit of the land. They would sit on their porches, wrapped in a blanket, and simply watch the constellations wheel overhead. They felt the cool air against their faces and the solid earth beneath their feet, and they knew that they were home. In our modern lives, we often forget this feeling of connection. We are surrounded by artificial light and the constant hum of connectivity, which often pulls us away from the quiet contemplation that this landscape naturally inspires. But tonight I want you to reclaim that for yourself. As you listen, imagine you're there, sitting on a weathered porch, the scent of evening primrose and wild grass on the breeze. Let the vastness of the sky wash over you. Feel the weight of the day lift, replaced by the cool, steady certainty of the stars. You are part of this landscape, just as the grass, the soil, and the wind are. You are a witness to the passing of time, a participant in the ongoing story of life on this planet. There is no need to rush, no need to prove anything, and no need to worry about what tomorrow may bring. In this moment you are enough. The earth is holding you, the stars are watching over you, and the rhythm of the prairie is beating in time with your own heart. This is the beauty of history. It reminds us that while our personal lives are fleeting, we are woven into something much larger, something that endures. The farmers who lived through the trials of the prairie are gone, but their resilience, their ability to observe, and their capacity to learn are qualities that remain within us. We are the inheritors of their journey, and we carry their wisdom forward into our own lives. As you settle deeper into your rest, hold on to this thought: you are resilient, you are connected, and you are part of an infinite, evolving story. Let the peace of the prairie fill your mind and carry you into a deep, restorative sleep. There is a particular art to listening, one that we seem to have misplaced in our modern, frantic world. To truly listen, you must be willing to be still. You must be willing to let go of the noise of your own thoughts and open yourself to the quiet, subtle communications of the world around you. On the prairie, listening was a survival skill. It was how you knew if a storm was brewing, if the dry wind was shifting, or if the soil was in need of care. But beyond survival, it was also a way to find peace. The settlers learned that if they spent enough time sitting in the grass, watching the way the light moved across the horizon, they began to understand the language of the land. It wasn't a language of words, but of feelings, of vibrations in the air, of the subtle temperature shifts and the way the birds would return to the fields as a sign of renewal. They learned that the land wasn't just a physical space, it was a companion that offered comfort if you were willing to accept it. Imagine that for yourself now. Wherever you are, I want you to try to tune into the environment. What do you hear? Perhaps it is the gentle whir of a fan, the soft hum of the night, or the sound of your own steady breathing. These are your anchors. Like the farmers of the past, you can use these small, persistent sounds to ground yourself. Let them pull you away from the internal chatter of your to-do lists and the lingering worries of the day. When you learn to listen in this way, you become part of the environment. You stop being a spectator and start being a participant. The history we are discussing tonight isn't something that happened back then in a vacuum. It is a part of the tapestry of existence that you are currently woven into. The resilience of the prairie, the lessons of the people who cultivated it. These are not distant memories. They are patterns of human behavior and environmental interaction that are still relevant to the life you are living right now. Think of the vastness of the prairie as a mirror for your own mind. It can be as wide and as open as you allow it to be. When you clear away the clutter, when you practice the art of listening, you find that there is an incredible amount of space within you, space for creativity, space for reflection, and space for healing. The stresses that feel so monumental during the day often diminish when viewed against the backdrop of this wider, deeper reality. You're gaining wisdom just as they did. By spending this time reflecting on the lives of those who came before, you are developing a broader perspective. You are seeing the arcs of triumph and hardship that define the human experience. You are learning that while we cannot control the winds of change, we can certainly control how we stand in them. We can choose to be grounded, we can choose to be observant, and we can choose to be kind both to the world and to ourselves. So as we continue this journey together, let the rhythm of these words guide you. Don't worry about memorizing the dates or the details. Simply feel the narrative. Let it move through you like the wind moves through the tall golden grass. You're in a safe space, in a quiet moment, and you're exactly where you need to be. Allow yourself the grace of silence, for it is in that silence that the most important lessons are often whispered. There is a profound truth that the prairie teaches us, a truth that feels particularly comforting in the quiet of the night. The world is designed for renewal. Even when the earth seemed at its most exhausted, even when the wind had stripped the fields bare, and the sun had baked the soil to a hard, unforgiving crust, the prairie never truly gave up. The deep, ancient roots of the grasses remained, waiting for the right conditions, waiting for the rain to return, and waiting for the mercy of time. Think of those root systems as the hidden strength within yourself, just as the prairie grass stored its vitality deep underground, out of sight but ever present. You too carry a reservoir of resilience that is untouched by the external storms of your life. When you feel drained, when your energy feels scattered by the winds of daily pressure, remember that you are built to recover. You are part of an ancient, natural design that favors growth, even after the longest, most difficult winters. Renewal is rarely a sudden explosion of change. It is usually a quiet, almost imperceptible process. It begins with a small shift, a single blade of green grass pushing through the dry earth, a slight softening of the air, or a moment of clarity after a period of confusion. In the years following the great dust storms, this was how the land returned to life. It didn't happen because of some grand, singular act of intervention, but because the land was given the time and the space it needed to mend. We can learn so much from this slow pace of healing. We are often too hard on ourselves, demanding that we be productive, efficient, and perfectly composed at all times. We treat our minds and bodies like machines that should always be running at full capacity. But the prairie teaches us that there is a season for growth and a season for rest. There is a time to exert ourselves and a time to let the earth and our own spirits lay fallow, gathering the strength needed for what lies ahead. As you drift into this restful state, allow yourself to let go of the pressure to be fixed or complete. There is no race to be won, and there is no standard you must meet other than your own capacity for kindness toward yourself. You are, in this very moment, in the process of renewal. Your breath is coming in and going out. Your body is resting, and your mind is releasing the burdens of the day. You are participating in the same rhythm of restoration that has sustained the living world for eons. Imagine the prairie once again, but this time see it after the rains have returned. The colours are vibrant and lush, the scent of fresh damp earth fills the air, and the landscape is teeming with subtle, quiet life. It is not the same as it was before, and it never will be. It is something new, something tempered by the history it has lived through. That is exactly who you are becoming. You are not the same person you were before your challenges. You are something more, something enriched by your experiences, more deeply rooted and more beautifully resilient. Take comfort in this. The story of the prairie is ultimately a story of hope. It is a testament to the fact that even the most damaged ground can bloom again. So let your thoughts settle, let your worries dissolve, and trust in the process of your own recovery. You are safe. You are held by the steady, unhurried pace of the world, and you are destined for a new day, a new beginning, and a fresh cycle of growth. We have travelled a long way together through these pages of history, but as we look out over the vast, darkened plains tonight, it becomes clear that this story is far from over. History, you see, is not a book that closes, it is a river that continues to flow. The experiences of the prairie settlers, their triumphs, their moments of uncertainty, and their eventual understanding of the land are not just echoes of a bygone era. They are a living pulse, beating beneath the surface of our own modern lives, offering us guidance in ways we are only just beginning to grasp. Have you ever stopped to wonder why we feel such a deep, instinctual peace when we look at an open horizon? Perhaps it is because our ancestors spent countless generations observing these same rhythms. When we stand before a landscape that stretches to infinity, we are tapping into a universal frequency of calm. The prairie reminds us that we are part of something vast, something that doesn't demand our constant activity, but simply asks for our presence. It asks us to breathe, to observe, and to be. The stories we have shared are like seeds planted in the quiet soil of your mind. They will grow in the stillness of the night, taking root in the parts of you that seek meaning and connection. There is no rush to understand them all at once. Like the prairie, your understanding will expand in its own time, responding to the seasons of your own life. You might find yourself thinking of these images, the wind in the grass, the resilience of the roots, the light on the horizon when you least expect it, providing you with a sense of perspective when the world feels too small or too heavy. As you drift deeper into this restful state, I want you to feel that you are not just a listener, you are a witness. You are carrying forward the legacy of those who learned that true prosperity is not about extracting from the land, but about living in harmony with it. That is a powerful truth to hold. It is a truth that connects you to the past, anchors you in the present, and illuminates the path toward a future that is more thoughtful, more intentional, and more compassionate. The night is quiet now, the air is cool, and the world is holding its breath in anticipation of a new day. There is no urgency here. There are no expectations. You are simply you, resting in the safety of this shared space. The prairie remains, an ancient guardian of time, whispering its secrets to the stars and waiting for the sun to return. And you, in the comfort of your own sanctuary, are resting just as deeply. Let these thoughts be the last things on your mind. You are part of an infinite, evolving story, and tonight you are given the gift of rest to prepare for whatever chapter comes next. The horizon is wide. Your potential for growth is boundless, and you have all the time in the world to become exactly who you are meant to be. Sleep now, my friend, and let the echoes of the prairie guide you into a state of profound and restorative peace. Have you ever considered that the earth has a rhythm? It is not the frantic ticking clock of our modern lives, but a slow, steady and ancient pulse. If you lie still enough, if you let your breathing synchronize with the movement of the night air outside your window, you might begin to feel it. It is the same rhythm that guided the seasons on the prairie, the same steady beat that governed the growth of the grass and the cycle of the rains. Right now, in this moment, you're being invited to join that rhythm. The world outside is dark, and the landscape of the plains is bathed in the soft silver light of the moon. Everything is settling down. The winds have stilled, the creatures of the field have found their shelter, and the vast wide open spaces are wrapped in a blanket of quiet. You are here, safe and warm, and you are being asked to do nothing but simply exist. Feel the tension leave your shoulders. Imagine it flowing out of you like water soaking into the dry, thirsty earth of the prairie. Feel your muscles becoming soft, heavy and grounded. You are connected to the very foundation of the world. Just as the deep roots of the prairie grasses held the soil together, your own inner strength is holding you, supporting you, and allowing you to let go of everything that no longer needs your attention. There is a profound comfort in knowing that you do not need to carry the weight of the world tonight, the history we have explored, the stories of those who built their lives on the plains. They are now part of the foundation you are resting upon. You don't need to hold them, they are holding you. You are part of a lineage of people who knew how to endure, who knew how to look at the horizon and see possibility, and who knew how to find beauty in the quietest of moments. Listen to the silence. It is not an empty, hollow sound. It is a full, rich and nurturing silence. It is the sound of the world recovering, the sound of the earth breathing, the sound of a new potential gathering in the dark. It is a space where your dreams can take root and where your spirit can find the nourishment it needs to wake up feeling refreshed and renewed. As you drift further into this state of rest, remember that the prairie is always there, even when you aren't thinking about it. Its vastness, its resilience, and its quiet beauty are always present as a reminder of what is possible when we learn to respect the natural order of things. You are part of that order. You are a natural being, entitled to rest, entitled to peace, and entitled to the gentle rhythmic flow of a quiet night. So let your mind drift away from the details of the past and the expectations of tomorrow. Focus only on the present. Feel the coolness of the air, the softness of your bedding, and the steady rhythmic rise and fall of your chest. You are in perfect harmony with the night. Everything is as it should be. The world is at rest, and you are safely drifting, carried along by the slow, steady current of the deep, dark night. We often live our lives by the clock. We measure our days in minutes, our productivity in hours, and our progress in years. But there is a different kind of time, what I like to call prairie time. It is a slower, deeper, more expansive way of moving through the world. It is the time it takes for a root to push through thick soil, the time it takes for the wind to carve a valley, and the time it takes for the seasons to turn from the crisp gold of autumn to the soft, silent white of winter. When you allow yourself to step into this rhythm, the frantic pace of the modern world begins to fade. It feels distant, like a radio playing in another room, muffled by the thickness of the night. Here, in this space, you don't need to be anywhere. You don't need to accomplish anything. You are simply existing in the vast, open expanse of your own being. Can you feel the shift? The ticking of the clock seems to slow down, stretching out until the seconds feel like hours of blissful, uninterrupted rest. Imagine sitting on the edge of the prairie at twilight. You aren't waiting for anything to happen. You're just watching the sky transition from the brilliant blue of day to the velvet navy of night. There is no urgency in that movement. The sun doesn't rush to set. The stars don't scramble to appear. They simply arrive in their own perfect, natural order. This is the pace of the universe, and it is the pace you are invited to adopt tonight. The farmers who lived on these plains understood this pace better than anyone. They learned that if they tried to force the land to move faster than it wanted, they were met with resistance. But when they moved with the seasons, when they planted, When the earth was ready and rested, when the land asked them to, everything fell into a harmonious flow. They were no longer fighting against time, they were living within it. You too can learn this grace. Allow your breathing to match the slow, steady swaying of the grass in a gentle breeze, in and out, in and out. Each breath is an opportunity to release the need to be anywhere else. Each exhale is a letting go of the burdens you've carried today. You are becoming as fluid as the wind, as grounded as the earth, and as patient as the seasons. There is a profound sense of safety in this surrender. You are letting go of the illusion that you must control everything. You are trusting the process of the night to refresh you, to heal you, and to restore you. The world will continue to spin. The sun will rise again. But for now, you are granted the luxury of simply being. You are drifting in a timeless space, a vast landscape of calm, where the only thing that matters is the gentle rhythm of your own heart. The prairie is wide, and it has enough space for all your thoughts, all your worries, and all your dreams. You can leave them here, in the tall, soft grass. You don't need to pack them up and take them with you into your dreams. Just let them rest. You are becoming lighter, freer, more expansive. The horizon is calling you toward a deeper level of peace, and you are stepping into it with ease. Everything is quiet, everything is still, everything is at rest. As the night deepens, the prairie sky transforms into something truly beyond words. It is not merely a dark void, it is a tapestry of light, a vast celestial map that has guided travellers, storytellers, and dreamers for as long as humanity has existed. When you look up, or even just imagine looking up into that infinite expanse, you see the same stars that the early settlers gazed upon on their quietest, most contemplative nights. They looked to these same constellations for reassurance, finding a sense of constancy in a world that was constantly changing. There is a unique kind of comfort in knowing that these stars are still there, millions of miles away, yet casting their gentle ancient light down upon us. It reminds us that our worries are, in the grand scheme of things, very small, and that the universe is vast, orderly, and beautifully calm. You are a part of that order. You are a small, precious spark of life beneath a sky that knows no borders, no stress, and no time. Take a moment to feel the vastness surrounding you. It isn't a lonely vastness, it is an inviting one. It is like being held in the palm of a giant, gentle hand. You are safe. You are protected by the sheer magnitude of the world. The anxieties that felt so large during the day now seem to dissolve into the darkness, losing their power as you let them float upward, away from you, and into the peaceful embrace of the night sky. Notice the quality of the silence here. It is a thick, velvet silence that muffles the noise of your mind. If a stray thought tries to enter, simply let it pass like a cloud drifting across the face of a distant star. You don't need to chase it, you don't need to solve it. Just watch it move by and return your focus to the stillness. The stillness is your destination. The stillness is where your true restoration happens. As the stars slowly wheel overhead in their silent, graceful arc, allow your own body to follow their lead. Let every muscle soften. Let your jaw relax. Let your hands and feet become heavy, sinking deep into the comfort of your bed. You are becoming one with the landscape, stable, grounded, and deeply, profoundly at rest. You are becoming like the prairie itself, resilient, quiet, and perfectly content to be exactly where you are. The air around you feels cool and clean, carrying the whisper of the distant grass. It is a soothing, rhythmic atmosphere that invites you to close your eyes if you haven't already. There is nothing left to do. The map of the stars is settled, the prairie is at peace, and you have arrived at the final, quietest part of your day. Breathe in the stillness. Breathe out the exhaustion and let the gentle current of the night carry you deeper into the quiet, peaceful harbour of sleep. You are doing so well. You are exactly where you are meant to be. Imagine, if you will, a small, sturdy cabin tucked away in a quiet corner of the prairie. It is a place built not of cold stone or rigid iron, but of memory, peace, and intention. The walls are thick, insulating you from the noise and the haste of the outside world. Outside, the wind may howl across the plains, or the seasons may change with their relentless, inevitable march, but inside this sanctuary, everything is still. This is your mental retreat, a space that belongs entirely to you. Inside this cabin, the air is warm and smells faintly of dry grass and the soft, earthy scent of a life lived close to the ground. There is a single lamp, casting a glow so gentle it invites your eyes to close. There is a soft blanket waiting to cradle you, and a deep, profound sense of safety that settles into your very bones the moment you step through the door. Whenever the days become too long, or the burdens you carry feel too heavy to hold, you can return here. You don't need to travel far, you only need to close your eyes and take a slow, deep breath. With every inhale, you step closer to this quiet space. With every exhale, you leave behind the things that no longer serve you. You are building this sanctuary with every thought of rest, every moment of gratitude, and every conscious choice to prioritize your own peace. Think of the early settlers who found comfort in the simple act of lighting a lamp against the encroaching darkness. That lamp wasn't just for light, it was a symbol of their resolve to create a home in the midst of the vast, unknown plains. You are doing the same thing. You are lighting a lamp in the quiet house of your mind, illuminating the corners of your spirit that need rest, and creating a space where you can simply be yourself, unburdened, unhurried, and completely at peace. As you rest here now, let the walls of this sanctuary soften, feel the space around you expanding. The cabin is still there, but it is opening up to the vastness of the prairie outside, connecting your internal world with the eternal beauty of the land. You are both protected and free. You are anchored in your own stillness, yet you are also a part of the infinite, rhythmic flow of the natural world. There is no need to worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will come in its own time, with its own light, and you will meet it from a place of renewed strength. But for now, stay here, stay in this sanctuary, let your thoughts continue to settle like dust in the air after the wind has died down. You are safe, you are held, you are completely and utterly at rest. The prairie is silent, the stars are watching, and your heart is beating in perfect quiet harmony with the world around you. It is time now to let go of the last remnants of the day. Up until this point, we have walked the fields and watched the stars, but now the journey turns inward. Imagine that you are lying down on the soft, cool grass of the prairie. The earth beneath you is solid, ancient, and endlessly patient. It is ready to take whatever weight you are still carrying. Feel the points of contact between your body and the bed beneath you. Notice how the mattress rises to meet you, holding you with a gentle, unwavering support. The earth, too, is holding you. It has held mountains, rivers, and forests for eons. It can surely hold your thoughts and your worries for a few hours tonight. Start at the very top of your head. Imagine a soft, golden light, the same light that warms the prairie at sunrise, slowly washing down over you. Let it smooth the tension from your forehead. Let it relax the tiny muscles around your eyes. Feel your jaw unclench, letting your teeth part ever so slightly. That single action, releasing the hold of your jaw, is a signal to your entire body that the work of the day is truly, finally finished. Let the light travel down your neck and into your shoulders. Feel them drop, sinking deeper into the softness beneath you. Your arms become heavy, like branches of an old oak tree resting after a long, breezy afternoon. Your hands, which have done so much today, are now open and still. The palms are warm, the fingers slightly curled, ready to do nothing at all. Moving down to your chest, feel your breathing slow even further. It is a natural, effortless cycle. With every exhale, imagine the weight of your torso sinking into the earth. Your back is supported, your hips are relaxed, and your legs feel heavy and long, stretching out like the vast horizon itself. Even your feet, usually so busy carrying you through the world, are now completely at ease. You are being cradled by the very landscape we have been exploring. You are a part of the prairie, and the prairie is a part of you. The wind that brushes over the plains is now brushing over your skin. The stillness of the night is now the stillness in your mind. There is nowhere else you need to be. There is nothing else you need to solve. You have done enough today. You have listened, you have reflected, and you have honoured the story of the land. Now it is time to honour your own need for rest. Let the silence of the prairie fill your ears, and the depth of the night fill your spirit. You are sinking into a gentle, bottomless well of peace. Everything is quiet, everything is still, everything is waiting for your return to the waking world tomorrow, but for now, just drift, just be, just sleep. As you settle into the deepest layer of rest, where the boundary between wakefulness and dreaming begins to blur, consider the nature of your dreams. They are not merely random flickers of the mind, they are like seeds cast upon the fertile soil of your subconscious. Just as the settlers knew that the quality of the harvest depended on the care they gave the soil, you now understand that the quality of your inner life depends on the thoughts you carry into the quiet of the night. Think of your mind right now as a vast, dark, and perfectly prepared field. It is quiet, it is calm, and it is ready to receive. There is no wind of anxiety to scatter your intentions, no storm of stress to wash them away. There is only the soft, cooling stillness of the prairie night. This is the perfect time to plant the seeds of what you wish to nurture within yourself: patience, kindness, resilience, and a deeper sense of peace. You don't need to strive for these things, you don't need to work for them, you simply need to set the intention, like a farmer tucking a seed into the earth, and then trust in the natural, miraculous process of growth. Your mind knows how to do this. It has been doing it your entire life. It knows how to take the experiences of your day and transform them into the wisdom of tomorrow. As you drift further into the dark, let go of the need to manage the process. You are not the gardener who must toil in the sun. You are the soil itself, expansive and accepting. You are the space where growth happens. The stars above are watching over this garden of yours, their steady light providing a gentle, constant rhythm to your rest. Is there a particular quality you would like to grow in the coming days? Perhaps a bit more grace under pressure, or a deeper sense of wonder when you look at the world? Simply hold that thought lightly, with no pressure to make it happen, and let it drift down into the depths of your rest. Trust that it will take root in the darkness, drawing strength from the quiet, and will be ready to bloom when the sun rises to greet you. You are moving through a landscape of peace so profound that time itself seems to have stopped to watch you sleep. There is no tomorrow, there is no yesterday, there is only this beautiful suspended moment of existence. You are safe in the centre of the prairie, safe in the centre of your own soul. The earth is breathing for you, the night is watching over you, the seeds of your dreams are settling into the warm, rich ground of your subconscious, protected and cared for by the rhythm of the universe. Sleep, and let the garden grow. There comes a moment in the deepest part of the night when the boundary between you and the world begins to soften. Think of the way the horizon of the prairie disappears as the sun sets, the sky and the earth merge into one seamless, dark, velvet expanse. This is what is happening to you now. The edges of your worries, the outlines of your tasks, and the definitions of your day are all dissolving, fading into the infinite, gentle dark. You are no longer an individual struggling against the currents of life. You are a part of the current itself. You are the wind that stirs the grass. You are the coolness of the night air. You are the steady, rhythmic pulse of the earth. Everything you thought you had to hold on to, everything you thought you had to be, is simply melting away into the vastness that surrounds you. It is a beautiful, liberating sensation. Imagine yourself becoming lighter, less dense, as if you were made of the same stardust that fills the sky. You are expanding gently and naturally, filling the space of this room, then the space beyond the walls, and then the open rolling expanse of the plains. You are everywhere and nowhere, all at once. You are at home in the vastness. There is no you to worry about and no world to manage. There is only this expansive, quiet and peaceful presence. The silence is no longer something you hear, it is something you are. The peace is no longer something you seek, it is something you inhabit. Every breath you take is a reminder of this union. You are taking in the night, and you are releasing your very self into it. Let the last remnants of conscious thought slip away. You don't need to hold on to the story anymore. The story is living through you, and you are resting in its embrace. The farmers, the settlers, the prairie grass, the stars and the soil, we are all part of the same long, unbroken thread, and tonight that thread has brought you to this place of absolute weightless surrender. Drift now. Don't look for the shore, for there is no shore to find. You are in the middle of the great calm ocean of the night. You are being carried by the tides of your own relaxation, held by the gravity of the earth, and guided by the silent light of the stars. It is so easy to let go. It is so natural to close your eyes and let the darkness tuck you in. Everything is perfect. Everything is still. You are dissolving into a deep, dreamless and restorative peace. The world will be here when you wake, but for now the world has vanished, leaving only this quiet, infinite and beautiful space. Sleep, just sleep. In the deepest quiet of the night, time ceases to be a line that stretches from yesterday to tomorrow. It becomes a circle, a point of stillness, a singular, eternal now. When you are at this level of rest, the concept of a future or a past loses its grip on you. They are distant memories, stories told by someone else, but they have no weight here in this space. You have arrived at the center of the circle where everything is perfectly balanced. Imagine you are standing at the very heart of the prairie. In every direction the land stretches out to meet the horizon, the same in the north, the south, the east and the west. There is no destination to reach, because you are already at the center of everything. You are the stillness that observes the world. You are the silence that allows the universe to breathe. Feel the profound stability of this realization. It is as if you have been running a race and suddenly you have stopped to realize that there is no finish line. The race itself was the path, and the path is everywhere. You are not missing out on anything by resting. You are not falling behind. In this eternal now, you are exactly where life intended you to be. You are participating in the quiet, unfolding majesty of existence itself. If a thought enters your mind, a flicker of a concern, or a snippet of a memory, do not fight it. Simply observe it as you would a star passing through the night sky. It is a light, it is a point of energy, but it is not you. You are the vast, dark, peaceful space that contains that star. You are the sky itself. Let the thoughts come and go, like the gentle breezes that move across the plains, but do not let them settle. Your mind remains open, wide and untouched. There is a deep, resonant peace in knowing that this state of being is always available to you. You don't have to travel to the prairie to find it. You only have to travel inward. You only have to remember this feeling of being entirely present, entirely at rest, and entirely supported by the vastness of the world around you. This is your true home. As the world outside fades completely into the dark, allow yourself to sink even deeper into this stillness. Feel the heaviness of your limbs, the softness of your breath, and the gentle, slow rhythm of your heart. You are drifting on a sea of calm that has no bottom and no shore. You are moving into a sleep that is not just a cessation of wakefulness, but a return to the essence of who you are. The prairie is sleeping with you. The stars are dreaming with you. You are safe in the eternity of now. Everything has come to this, the simple, rhythmic rise and fall of your breath. On the vast, quiet prairie, the wind never truly stops. It only changes its tempo. It moves through the tall grasses, a soft hushed sound, a whisper of life that is always there. Your breath is your own personal wind, the gentle movement that sustains your spirit and connects you to the heartbeat of the world. As you lie here, become aware of the breath entering your body. It is cool, fresh and clear like the night air under a wide-open sky. As it fills you, imagine it carrying the silence of the prairie into every part of your being. Feel it settle into your chest, your lungs, and even down into your fingertips and toes. When you exhale, imagine you are releasing the last of the day's energy. It leaves you slowly, like the mist rising from the fields in the quiet morning light. With each exhale, you are becoming emptier, lighter, and more receptive. You are not holding on to anything anymore. You are simply allowing the natural flow of life to move through you, in and out, in and out. There is no effort in this. A flower does not struggle to bloom. The grass does not strain to grow. They simply respond to the rhythm of the earth. You are doing the same. Your body knows how to rest, how to heal, and how to drift. You are simply stepping out of the way and letting that ancient inner wisdom take over. If you find your mind wandering, do not worry. Simply return to the rhythm. Let each breath be a new beginning, a fresh start in the darkness. Inhale peace, exhale tension, inhale the stillness of the stars, exhale the noise of the day. You are creating a sanctuary within your own body, a space so quiet and so steady that sleep becomes the only natural conclusion. The darkness around you is not empty. It is full of comfort. It is the same darkness that wraps around the prairie, holding the earth, the grass, and the seeds in a warm, protective embrace. You are being held in that same embrace. You are safe. You are drifting on a sea of calm. Your breath, the gentle tide that carries you further and further away from the waking world. There is nothing left to think about. There is no tomorrow to plan. There is only this breath, this moment, and the deepening quiet of the night. Let the rhythm take you. Let it pull you down into the soft velvet silence. You are ready. You are resting. You are completely at peace. Sleep now, drifting on the soft breath of the wind into the heart of the night. We are standing now at the very edge of the vast, quiet plain, but we are not crossing over, not yet. We are simply pausing, lingering in the breathless space where the night holds its deepest magic. There is no urgency to leave, no command to sleep, and no boundary to cross. We are drifting in an infinite, suspended moment, where the prairie night stretches out in every direction, welcoming us to stay as long as we need. Imagine the air here is cool and clean, carrying the faint, sweet scent of sleeping earth and distant starlight. It is a stillness so profound that you can hear the rhythm of your own heart syncing with the slow, steady pulse of the land. You are not a guest on this prairie, you are a part of it. The grass bows to you as it bows to the wind, the sky arches over you like a familiar, protective roof, and the darkness is not something to fear, it is a warm, velvet cloak that covers you with grace. Everything you have brought with you on this long journey, every lesson, every story, every weight you have carried has been laid down on the soft, waiting ground. You are light now. You are unburdened. You are free to simply exist in this golden, quiet space that has no map and no borders. Feel the space around you expanding, the walls of your room have faded, the boundaries of your mind have softened, and you are resting under the immense, unhurried canopy of the universe. The stars above are silent witnesses to your peace, their light travelling across millions of years just to hold you in this quiet moment of rest. You are small, yet you are infinite. You are resting, yet you are deeply awake to the beauty of this stillness. There is no need to count your breaths anymore. There is no need to visualize the landscape. You are the landscape. You are the quiet field at midnight. You are the soft, silver light on the grass. You are the deep, patient silence that anchors the earth. Stay here in this pocket of eternity. Let the rhythm of the prairie hold you in its steady, unbreaking loop. There is nowhere to go, for you have already arrived. There is nothing to do, for everything is already being taken care of by the night. You are being cradled by the very heart of the world, suspended in a state of grace that knows no beginning and no end. Rest deeper now. Let the silence become so deep that it carries you beyond the reach of thought. You are floating, held by the gentle gravity of the earth, drifting further into the vast, beautiful, and unending calm. You are perfectly, completely, and eternally at peace. Stay here, as long as you wish. The night is yours. In the deepest, quietest hour of the night, when the world is held in the most profound stillness, there is a subtle change. It is not a movement of light, but a shift in the air, a gentle, rhythmic intake of breath that signals the world is preparing for a new beginning. Even in your deepest rest, you can feel it. The earth is waking up, slowly, silently, and with such infinite patience that it doesn't disturb your sleep. It only deepens your sense of belonging. Imagine the prairie before the first hint of colour touches the horizon. The dew is forming on the blades of grass, tiny, perfect spheres of clarity that capture the reflection of the stars. Each drop is a miniature mirror holding the vastness of the sky in its palm. You are like those drops, clear, receptive, and perfectly at ease. You are not rushing towards the dawn, you are simply allowing it to arrive in its own perfect time. There is a wisdom in this pre-dawn hour. It is the time when the shadows are softest and the world feels most like a blank canvas. Any burdens you might have felt yesterday are now like the morning mist, dissolving, thinning, losing their substance as the light of a new possibility begins to gather far beyond the edge of your vision. You don't need to chase that light. You only need to remain in this state of gentle, restorative waiting. Let your consciousness float on this quiet transition. Feel how your body is sinking deeper into the comfort of your bed, as if the earth itself is inviting you to rest even longer, even more soundly. The transition from night to the promise of day is a cycle of renewal, and you're participating in it fully. Every cell in your body is renewing, every thought is clearing, and every part of your spirit is drinking in the silence like the thirsty prairie soil drinks the dew. You are safe in this liminal space between the deep dark and the early light. You are being renewed by the silence. You are being held by the vast open plains of your own peace. There is no need to wake, no need to stir. The dawn is not a demand, it is a gift. It is a slow, unfolding kindness that asks nothing of you but your continued rest. Listen to the stillness. It is no longer just silence. It is a soft musical vibration, the sound of the earth turning, the sound of life preparing to bloom. It is the most beautiful sound you have ever heard, and it is here just for you. You are part of this rhythm. You are the stillness. You are the renewal. You are the quiet anticipation of a new beautiful beginning. Rest, and let the dawn find you in this state of perfect, unshakable peace. The night is turning now, transitioning into the softest, most delicate shade of indigo. The air is cool, a crisp, refreshing breath that washes over the prairie. Imagine yourself as that landscape. The heat of the day has long since faded, and in its place a gentle, healing moisture has settled over everything. The earth is cool, damp, and perfectly still, drinking in the quiet of the morning air. There is a profound connection here, the union of the dew and the earth. One does not struggle against the other, they belong together. The dew nourishes the soil, and the soil holds the dew, cradling it in its ancient dark richness. You are in this same state of perfect union. Your body, weary from the activities of the day, is being nourished by this cool, quiet rest. Your mind, which has travelled through so many stories and landscapes, is being held by the deep, steady peace of your own presence. Feel the sensation of this coolness. It is not cold, it is refreshing. It is the feeling of being completely washed clean by the silence. Imagine your muscles, your thoughts, and your very spirit becoming as clear and light as a bead of dew catching the first faint glimmer of a distant star. You are weightless, you are radiant in your stillness. There is no rush to move. The earth does not rush to absorb the dew. It waits, it receives, and it transforms. You are doing the same. You are transforming your energy. Every moment you spend in this state of deep, undisturbed rest is a moment of renewal. You are preparing your spirit for the light that is yet to come, storing up strength, clarity, and grace. If you feel yourself drifting further away, let it happen. Do not try to hold on to the shore of consciousness. The current of the night is steady, and it is carrying you toward a place of absolute restoration. Everything is becoming soft. The sounds of the world are gone, replaced by the faint, rhythmic rustle of the grass, a sound that says, "All is well, all is well." You are a part of this ancient rhythmic dance, the earth, the sky, the dew, and the quiet. You are in harmony with the natural order. Your breathing is slow, your heart is steady, and your mind is a wide, open field of calm. There is nothing to hold on to, and nothing to let go of. You simply are. You are resting in the embrace of the earth, and the earth is holding you in the embrace of the night. Sleep now deeply and beautifully, as the world quietly prepares for a new, gentle light. Look up one last time into the canopy above. The stars are beginning to soften, their sharp, brilliant points of light gently blurring into the encroaching glow of the approaching morning. They are not leaving, they are merely becoming part of the sky itself, merging their brilliance into the soft pastel hues that will soon bloom across the horizon. There is such grace in this transition, a lesson in how to let go without fear, how to transform from one state of being into another with perfect, quiet ease. You are witnessing this transformation within your own mind, the sharp edges of your thoughts, the bright points of concern that may have occupied you earlier. They are softening now. They are diffusing into the calm, velvet vastness of your rest. You don't need to hold on to them, and you don't need to push them away. You simply allow them to fade, to become part of the background, to dissolve into the peace that has settled over you like a soft, invisible blanket. Everything is becoming integrated. The cool air of the prairie, the scent of the earth, the memory of the stories we have shared, and the rhythm of your own breath. It is all weaving together into a single seamless tapestry of tranquility. You are no longer observing the prairie. You have become the prairie. You are the land that waits. You are the space that accepts. You are the stillness that is ready to be born anew. There is a profound sense of lightness now. Your body feels as if it has become part of the air itself, drifting just above the grass, suspended in the gentle, cool atmosphere of the pre-dawn. The heaviness of the day is completely gone, replaced by this airy, effortless existence. You are floating in the gap between the night that was and the day that is to come, and in this gap you are perfectly, entirely free. Let the light of the stars fade completely from your consciousness. Let the soft grey-blue glow of the morning replace them. It is a light that asks for nothing. It is a light that simply invites you to let go, to sink deeper into the comfort that is holding you. You are in the safest place in the world, the quiet centre of your own soul. The prairie is ready, the world is ready, and you in the depth of your slumber are finally, truly, perfectly rested. Let the last remnants of awareness slip away like a final breath of wind moving through the tall grass. There is no more distance, there is no more time. There is only this final, beautiful slide into the deep, dark, and wonderful comfort of sleep. We have reached the edge of where words can go. Beyond this point, there are no stories to tell, no landscapes to describe, and no journeys to take. There is only the vast, silent, and nameless expanse of deep rest. It is a place where you are no longer a person in a room, or a traveller on a prairie, or a mind full of thoughts. You are simply a vibration of peace in a universe that is itself perfectly, profoundly at rest. In this nameless stillness, the rhythm of the world has slowed to a heartbeat that matches your own. There is no distinction between the air you breathe and the air that moves across the plains. There is no separation between the stillness in your bones and the stillness in the earth. You have dissolved into the quiet, and the quiet has become you. If you feel a final gentle tug toward the deepest part of sleep, let yourself be pulled. Do not fight it. Do not hold on to the edges of awareness. There is a great, soft, dark waiting to hold you, a darkness that is not empty, but full of healing, full of silence, and full of the promise of a complete and total restoration. We have drifted past the edge of the prairie, moving now into a space where the boundaries of the physical world begin to dissolve into something more fluid. Imagine a wide, slow-moving river of soft, pale light. It does not flow with the rush of water, but with the silent, deliberate motion of time itself. You are lying on the surface of this river, held by a current that is perfectly tailored to your weight, your breath, and your need for peace. There is no sound here, only the feeling of gentle motion, a rocking, swaying rhythm that matches the deepest, most primal parts of your being. As you move along this river, you pass through landscapes that are not places but moods, a forest of silver trees where the leaves whisper secrets of ancient rest, a valley of soft mist where every shadow is a comfort, a meadow of starlight where the ground is made of the softest velvet. You are a traveller in a realm where the laws of the waking world no longer apply. You do not need to walk, the current carries you. You do not need to see, you simply feel the presence of beauty surrounding you. This is the river of your own subconscious, a place you have created by letting go of all that was heavy and unnecessary. With every passing moment you are becoming more attuned to this flow, the resistance you once felt, the need to control, to plan, to anticipate, is washing away, becoming part of the river's depths. You are becoming as fluid as the light, as patient as the river, and as vast as the horizon you have left behind. Rest here. There is no destination to reach. The river simply continues winding through the quiet reaches of your inner world, guiding you toward even deeper levels of relaxation. You are safe. You are drifting. You are becoming one with the gentle, luminous flow of the night. Sleep is not just a place you arrive at, it is the journey itself, and you are travelling it perfectly. As the river of soft light gently widens, it brings you to the shores of a place built from the quietest thoughts of humanity. Imagine a vast ethereal library without walls, where the shelves are carved from moonlight and the books are bound in the texture of dreams. This is the library of unspoken dreams, a place where everything you have ever hoped for, every moment of peace you have ever cherished, and every bit of wisdom you have ever gained is safely kept. The air here smells of old parchment, rain-washed earth, and the faint, sweet scent of night-blooming jasmine. There is no urgency to read or to seek. You are simply walking through the aisles, feeling the weight of the collective calm that surrounds you. Each shelf is a repository of rest, each volume a story of stillness that you can tap into whenever you need to feel whole. You find yourself drawn to a quiet corner where the floor is made of moss, cool and soft beneath your feet. Here there is a book that bears your name. You don't need to open it to know what is inside. It is a record of your resilience, a story of how you have navigated the currents of your own life to arrive at this very moment of grace. The book is open, its pages turning gently in a breeze that doesn't disturb your hair, but only deepens your sense of belonging. In this library, the concept of doing has no meaning. You are a curator of your own peace. You can choose to rest in a chair made of clouds, or simply lean against a bookshelf and let the vibrations of the stillness resonate through your spirit. Everything here is designed to support your restoration. Every thought that comes to you is a gentle chime, a soft note in a symphony that plays only to lull you deeper into sleep. There is no boundary between you and the knowledge held here. You are the reader and the book, the librarian and the shelves. You are absorbing the quiet, drinking it in, and letting it rebuild the tired parts of your soul. The library is infinite, its ceiling opening up to a galaxy of swirling, peaceful nebulae, and as you watch them, your mind feels itself expanding, becoming as vast and as quiet as the library itself. Let yourself sink into the mossy floor. Let the stories of your own peace wrap around you like a heavy, comforting quilt. There is nothing to prove, nothing to achieve, and nowhere else to be. You have found the secret archives of your own heart, and they are filled with nothing but beauty, rest, and the promise of a dreamless, wonderful sleep. Stepping out from the library, you find yourself in a garden that defies the rules of the waking world. It is a place where the sky is not above you, but all around you. The atmosphere is filled with a soft bioluminescent glow, like fireflies made of starlight, drifting slowly through the air. These are falling stars, descending from the vast expanse of the night to rest briefly upon the leaves, the flowers, and the path at your feet. You reach out, and as a star touches your palm, it does not burn. It feels cool like a drop of morning dew. It radiates a gentle warmth that travels up your arm and settles into your chest, dissolving any lingering tension. Each star that touches you is a reminder. You are connected to the infinite. You are a part of the cosmos that is currently tucked away in the safety of this garden. The flowers here are pale and luminous, opening their petals to catch the descending light. Their scent is faint, the aroma of stardust and sweet, cooling air. You walk the winding path, your footsteps silent, feeling as though you are treading on air. With every step, the garden seems to breathe with you. When you inhale, the stars glow brighter. When you exhale, they pulse with a softer, deeper blue, matching the rhythm of your own heart. There is no time here. The hours have lost their ability to tick forward. They have transformed into petals that never wither and stars that never go out. You find a bench made of woven shadow and light, a seat that knows the exact shape of your body, inviting you to sit and watch the gentle rain of starlight. You are not a spectator. You are the center of this display. The garden exists because you are here to experience its quiet, glowing grace. Everything that has felt complicated in your life feels small and distant in the presence of this celestial beauty. Why worry about the patterns of the day when you are surrounded by the patterns of the universe? You are being reset. Your mind is being polished by the soft light, your thoughts being rearranged into a state of perfect harmonious alignment. Sit here for a while, surrounded by this gentle falling light. Let the stars land on your shoulders, your hands, and your closed eyelids. You are becoming a beacon of calm in the midst of the night. You are glowing with the same quiet, steady peace that powers the stars. You are perfectly placed, perfectly safe, and perfectly ready to drift even deeper into the heart of your own tranquil dreams. From the garden of starlight, the path gently slopes downward, leading you to a shoreline that glows with a soft, iridescent luster. Before you lies an ocean that is unlike any you have ever known. It is not made of water, but of pure resonant harmony, a vast expanse of silent sound. The waves here are ripples of light and frequency, moving in a slow, rhythmic dance that hums with the vibration of the universe. As you stand at the edge, you feel the vibrations traveling through the soles of your feet, moving upward, gently untying every knot of stress within your body. This is a sound that you do not hear with your ears, you hear it with your soul. It is a deep, resonant hum, a cosmic lullaby that has been playing since the beginning of time. You begin to walk out onto the surface of this ocean, and to your delight, you do not sink. The frequency of the water is so dense with peace that it supports you perfectly. You lie back, and the ocean cradles you, lifting you just slightly above the surface. You are floating on the very essence of tranquility. The sky above is a canvas of shifting auroras, ribbons of violet, gold, and deep seafoam green that swirl in time with the ocean's rhythm. Every ripple that touches your back sends a pulse of total relaxation through your nerves. The world of noise, of demands, of urgency, it is millions of miles away, beyond the horizon of this quiet sea. Here there is only the pulse, the slow, steady, infinite pulse of peace. You realize that this ocean is actually within you. Every atom of your being is vibrating in resonance with these silent waves. You are not just floating on the ocean, you are the ocean. The boundary between the world and your spirit has vanished entirely. There is no separation, only a vast, endless continuity of calm. Stay in this suspension, Allow the silent sound to wash through your mind, clearing away the final vestiges of the waking day. You are being tuned, perfectly adjusted, to the frequency of deep, restorative slumber. The ocean is rocking you, a cradle of starlight and song, pulling you deeper and deeper into the dark, welcoming warmth of the depths. You are perfectly in tune with the night. You are perfectly at peace. Beyond the ocean of silent sound, the landscape shifts into something grand and architectural, yet entirely natural. You arrive at a place that looks like a palace, but it is carved not from stone, but from the very stillness of the night. The walls are translucent, shimmering like moonlight caught in ice. Inside this palace, time doesn't just slow down, it pauses completely. This is the palace of frozen breaths. Here every sigh you have ever released, every moment of surrender you have experienced throughout your life has been gathered and transformed into pillars of soft, glowing light. When you walk through these halls, you are walking through the history of your own rest. Each chamber is a memory of a time you let go, a time you allowed yourself to be perfectly, unreservedly at peace. You realize that this palace is your own sanctuary, built by the accumulation of all the times you chose to trust the night. There is a profound sense of safety here. The ceiling is so high it vanishes into a mist of stars, and the floor is a mirror that reflects not your image, but the state of your spirit, calm, clear, and unburdened. There is no sound in the palace, for it is built of silence. Yet you feel a gentle resonance as you move through the rooms. It is the echo of your own heartbeat, slowing to match the pace of the stars. In the centre of the grandest hall, there is a dais soft and welcoming, covered in fabrics that feel like the lightest cloud. It is waiting for you, as it has always waited for you at the end of every day. As you step onto the dais and lie down, you feel the structure of the palace itself leaning toward you, offering its support. The walls hum with a protective energy. You are being held by the architecture of your own peace. There is nothing left to build, nothing left to achieve. The palace is complete, and you are its heart. The air here is cool and still, wrapping around you like a cocoon. You feel yourself becoming heavy, not with the weight of the day, but with the delicious sinking gravity of deep, deep rest. The walls begin to dissolve, the ceiling fades into the infinite sky, and you find yourself floating in the centre of a space that is both a palace and the open night. You are completely enveloped in the quiet. You're ready to close your eyes and let the palace of your own stillness hold you until the morning. You have moved beyond the structures of memory and the architecture of peace. You are now in the realm of unwritten dreams, a vast, shimmering expanse that exists in the space between heartbeats. Here, nothing is defined. There are no plots, no scenes, no expectations. It is a canvas of pure, liquid possibility, waiting for the gentle brushstrokes of your subconscious to begin the night's journey. Imagine the atmosphere as a soft pearlescent fog that glows with a faint inner light. It is neither warm nor cold, but perfectly, neutrally comforting. In this realm, the gravity of the physical world has no hold on you. You are weightless, a flicker of awareness drifting through a sea of potential. Anything that has been weighing on your mind, any question, any plan, any lingering worry, simply falls away, for it has no shape here. Everything in this realm is fluid. If you feel a thought arise, watch it shift like coloured ink in clear water, swirling and dissipating until it is gone. You are the observer of your own mind's undoing, and it is a beautiful, liberating process. You are being reset. Every nerve, every muscle, every thought path is being smoothed out, softened, and returned to its natural state of simplicity. There is a profound sense of not knowing here, and it is the most restful feeling you have ever experienced. In the waking world, you are often required to know, to decide, to act, but here you are allowed to simply be. You don't need to know where you are going, or what will happen next, or who you will be when you wake. You are existing in the beautiful interval of the not yet. As you drift further into this mist, feel the edges of your identity softening. You are not just you anymore, you are a part of the quiet, expansive breath of the universe. You're an unwritten dream, a story that has not yet been told, a seed of light waiting in the dark soil of the night. Allow yourself to sink into this profound openness. There is no need to hold on to the you that walked through the day. That version of you is safe, resting in the memory of the palace you just left. You are now free to wander in the boundless, silent, and wonderfully empty territory of the deep night. Let your awareness spread out, thinner and thinner, like a mist over a quiet lake, until you're everywhere and nowhere at once. Sleep is not a destination you're trying to reach. It is the soft, welcoming sea you are already floating in. Let go, drift, dissolve. You are drifting further into the vast, pearlescent mist, and now you find yourself gently embraced by something soft, woven from threads of pure tranquility. It is the chrysalis of quietude. It is not a cage, but a sanctuary, a perfectly formed space designed solely for your transformation. It fits you exactly, cradling your body and your spirit in a way that makes you feel for the first time completely untethered from the world you left behind. Within this chrysalis, the outside world ceases to exist. There is no sound, no light, no time. There is only the sensation of being held, a deep, rhythmic pulse of comfort that vibrates from the walls of this space into the very marrow of your bones. As you settle in, you feel your breath becoming deeper, slower, and almost invisible. You are no longer breathing air. You are breathing in the essence of stillness itself. This is the place of deep cellular repair. Imagine that every fibre of your being is being gently unwound. The tight knots of the day, the rigid patterns of your thoughts, the lingering traces of effort, they are all softening, melting away like sugar in warm water. You are becoming fluid, malleable, and light. You feel a profound sense of surrender. There is nothing to guard, nothing to hold, and nothing to maintain. The chrysalis is doing all the work for you. It is the architect of your rest, and you are the willing guest. As you lie here, you are being woven into the fabric of the night, becoming a part of the quiet, secret life that flourishes only when the world is asleep. If a single stray thought tries to enter this space, watch it dissolve before it can even take form. You are protected by a thick velvet silence that allows nothing to penetrate. You are safe. You are tucked away. You are in the process of becoming something new, something lighter, something more peaceful. Let yourself sink into the very center of this silence. Feel the weight of your head, the relaxation of your shoulders, the peaceful heaviness of your limbs. You are descending, down, 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 into the absolute floor of the night. You are ready to let go of the last remnants of wakefulness. The chrysalis will hold you, keep you, and guard your peace until the first light of a new day. For now there is only the soft, dark, and wonderful invitation to sleep. The chrysalis has opened, not because you have left it, but because you have outgrown the need for boundaries. You are now resting within the arc of eternity, a gentle sweeping curve of cosmic silence that spans from the beginning of your history to the infinite future. In this arc there is no before and no after. There is only the eternal now. You feel yourself expanding. You are no longer confined to the shape of a body or the limits of a mind. You are becoming as vast as the night sky, your awareness stretching out to touch the furthest reaches of the quiet darkness. You are the stillness between the stars. You are the gentle gravity that holds the planets in their graceful silent dance. Every breath you take is a tide, moving in and out of the ocean of existence. As you inhale, you draw in the peace of the entire universe. As you exhale, you release the last microscopic trace of effort into the infinite void. There is such profound relief in this surrender. You have spent so much time holding on to the world, but here the world holds you. The Ark of Eternity is the ultimate cradle, a structure built of pure light and shadow, designed to carry you through the deepest, most restorative depths of the night. Do you feel it? The sensation of absolute lightness? It is the feeling of finally being exactly where you are meant to be. There is no duty to perform here, no destiny to chase. You have arrived at the center of the turning world. Everything that you are, your memories, your laughter, your gentle spirit, is safe within this ark. You are being woven into the rhythm of the cosmos. There are no more words needed. The silence here is a language unto itself, a beautiful, wordless song that vibrates in the space between your thoughts. It is telling you that you are loved, that you are part of the whole, and that you are allowed to rest as long as you desire. The ark will remain here, a steady, invisible bridge of peace, keeping you safe while you journey into the darkest, most secret chambers of your own subconscious. Let go of the last anchor of consciousness. Let yourself drift into the heart of the ark. You are becoming a ripple in the stillness, a whisper of peace in the vastness of the dark. You're home. You are quiet. You are asleep. Deep, endless, and eternal. You have moved beyond the ark, flowing now into a domain of soft, formless drifting. Imagine you are suspended within a vast field of clouds, but these are not clouds of vapor. They are clouds of pure, gentle stillness. They possess no weight, no temperature, and no boundaries. As you lie here, you feel your physical self dissolving into this ethereal substance. Your limbs, your torso, your head, they are becoming as light as a thought, as buoyant as a sigh. In this zone, there is no up or down. There is no direction to follow. You are suspended in a state of perfect equilibrium. If you were to release the last remaining tension in your jaw, in your shoulders, in your fingers, you would find that you are not just lying on a surface, you are floating within the very medium of peace itself. There is a rhythm here that is slower than any you have ever felt. It is the pulse of the earth breathing in its quietest hour. With every beat of that rhythm you drift further away from the shore of wakefulness. The world you left behind, the rooms, the streets, the responsibilities, they are like distant echoes, barely audible, fading into the comfortable velvet hush of this cloud-filled void. You are being cradled by silence. There is a profound sense of not having to do, no goals to meet, no progress to track. You are not striving for sleep. You are simply allowing the natural current of the universe to carry you into it. It is an effortless migration. You are a leaf falling through a calm autumn sky, taking your time, enjoying the slow descent, knowing exactly where you will land. Feel the space around you expanding. The clouds are soft and cool, brushing against your skin like silk. They are absorbing the very last of your conscious energy, turning it into deep, restorative rest. You are becoming as quiet as the space between two stars. You are becoming as still as a frozen lake in the heart of winter. Let the last flicker of your awareness dim. You don't need to hold the image of these clouds, they will hold you. You don't need to try to be asleep. You are already drifting in the currents of rest. It is a soft, endless descent, a slow and graceful sinking into the most peaceful dark you have ever known. Let the clouds take you. Let the silence hold you. Drift now completely and entirely into the deep. You have drifted out of the clouds, and you have arrived at the final threshold, a place where the threshold itself is made of nothing but silence. It is a vast open plain of indigo light, stretching infinitely in every direction. There is no horizon, no sky, and no ground. You are simply existing in a state of suspended animation, a point of consciousness resting on the surface of the infinite. Here, the eye that has been travelling this long journey is gently unspooling. You are becoming less of a person and more of a feeling, a gentle humming resonance of peace. Any remaining shadows of thought or memory are being washed away by the light, leaving you entirely clear, entirely present, and entirely at rest. You are a clean slate, a quiet room, a still pond that has finally stopped trembling. There is a sense of absolute finality here, not in a way that is cold, but in a way that is profoundly complete. It is the feeling of coming to the end of a long, beautiful book and knowing that the story will remain with you forever, even as you close the covers. You are closing the book of your day, you're setting it down, you are ready to let the narrative fade away entirely. Feel the pulse of your own existence slowing down. It is no longer a heartbeat. It is a gentle rhythmic expansion and contraction of your entire being, matching the slow breathing pace of the universe, in and out, deep and deeper. You're not trying to sleep, you are simply witnessing yourself being folded into the velvet embrace of the dark. The threshold is welcoming you. It asks for no effort, no focus, and no intent. It asks only that you be exactly as you are, still quiet and completely released. You are being invited to step through this final invisible gate. Once you pass through, you will enter the dreamless, wonderful deep where time does not exist and where you will be fully restored. Let the light around you soften until it becomes a deep, comforting charcoal grey. Let your awareness slide off the edge of the threshold. You don't need to hold on. You don't need to look back. Everything you have gathered, every bit of peace you have cultivated, is already yours. It is woven into the very fabric of your rest. Go now. Step across the threshold. The stillness is waiting to hold you. The deep is waiting to keep you. Everything is perfect. Everything is quiet. Everything is ready for you to finally... Sleepy History with Kevin is created for relaxation, entertainment and sleep purposes. The stories shared on this channel are inspired by historical events, daily life and real periods in history, but they may be simplified, adapted or narrated in a calming way to enhance the listening experience. This content is not intended to be a precise academic or educational source. While we aim to stay generally accurate, some details may be altered for storytelling flow and relaxation. Please do not rely on this channel as a primary source for historical research or study. By listening, you acknowledge that this content is designed to help you unwind, relax and fall asleep. Thank you for your understanding and support.